off as well. If you do this, be extremely careful. The water can act as a conductive element and cause you to electrocute yourself by short-circuiting the loop on the welder. This is why I take my gloves off whenever I'm handling the water, so that they're not getting wet. If your gloves do get wet, stop working, switch to a dry pair of gloves. Ideally, I always work from an upward down position because the metal jumps, and if you're below it at all, it will jump into you and it will hurt. Okay. So I got it tack welded, but that's a very loose grip, so we're going to keep working on it for a minute. So this is a standard oxyacetylene tank setup, and I don't have a forge, so I'm using what's called a rosebud, which is a wide distribution heat burner on my oxyacetylene system to generate a heating space to heat my metal. Since I'm working on thin pieces, this works really well. So I went ahead and I pulled off the top and cannibalized the mattress, and this is what's inside of a regular mattress bed. And what I do is I come in with these bolt cutters, and I cut out a section of springs, and then once the section is cut, you can actually just grab these with pliers and twists, and it's like a giant screw. Just comes right out. So the key to any of this kind of stuff is just basically reverse engineering it, looking at it, looking how it's put together, really thinking through the method for deconstruction. We have our same bolt cutters again, and here again, we're just going to cut it into smaller pieces. We're just deconstructing it into the size that we need. And so I kind of ended up with a pattern where there's a natural knot in these springs that is really difficult to remove, but you can see there's so much material, and we have so much more in that mattress than we're ever going to need, that it's easier just to cut it out than to try and fix it. So the first few I tried to fix, but I just cut around it. So I cut on both sides of the knot, which disconnects it and gives me 2 long leads. And then I take the remaining spring piece and I cut it at the bottom twice to make 3 smaller pieces. This gives me 5 slightly different pieces, slightly different length pieces to work with, and gives me a really flexible material to build my twig forms out of. Okay, so again, safety is really important. I have my gloves for my hands, and then I have earphones because I'm going to be pounding metal on metal. And in the short run, it won't feel like much, but if you do this for 2 or 3 hours, or like I've done it for hundreds of hours, it will start to deafen you. So I take my metal spring, straighten it out a little bit, and I'm just hammering to kind of texture the piece right now, and to take away its natural spring curve. In the solar molds for these, there's a space right here, which is where the LED will eventually go, so you kind of want to have to avoid all circuitry on this side of it in that space. So what we're doing is this first L shape these 3 dots are the connection on the back, so we'll connect the white to the dot, and then we'll bring it to the edge of the disc. See? That's why we have this shape. It's about 1 inch and then about 1/4 inch. All right, so here we have our tinned leads, and we're working on the white side of the material. So we're going to take our soldering gun, the tip comes loose every now and then, which makes it not heat as evenly. Take our soldering gun, create a small dot of solder. Perfect. So the solder melts and the 2 tinned pieces go together, and you get a very strong hold.